Good Tuesday morning. I'm meteorologist Alan Matthew here with an early morning discussion regarding tomorrow's potential for severe weather. So let's get straight to it. First things first, let's locate our low pressure system that we've been talking about. The low pressure system is now on shore. It's moved through Southern California and it is entering western Arizona. In the next few hours, I expect it to be kind of in the vicinity of the Four Corners region. And just notice how far south this is. This is a little bit further south than some of the models were showing, but not a whole lot. And this is going to continue to kind of move that way. I think it will maintain a southern path for a little further, and then once it gets kind of over in this region, once it gets through Colorado and New Mexico, you're going to have some leeward cyclogenesis. You're going to have a low here, probably develop a little bit, and then one over here. I think the southern one wins out, and then this is going to begin moving that way a little bit before it starts ejecting to the northeast. So I feel fairly confident that that's what's going to happen, and we'll talk about where that's going to be right now. So this is the GFS model output. This is pinpointing our low pressure to be in the neighborhood of northeastern Kansas, northwestern Missouri, as we get into lunchtime. Actually, this is 3 p.m. tomorrow. Here's some ensemble products. This is a bunch of models trying to pinpoint the location of the low. Again, early tomorrow morning, that's this afternoon, they show you a double barrel low forming on the leeward side of the Rockies, leeward side of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains in northern New Mexico. Then as we advance this forward to tomorrow afternoon, there's good agreement here that this is where the low pressure system is going to be located. So a lot of different models are pinpointing it in the same location. So that's high confidence for me that that's where that low is actually going to set up in that region. So let's talk about instability a little bit here. I'm just going to show you a progression of these images real quick, and this is how things have changed over the past 24 hours. Just note how it goes from green to kind of a reddish color. Okay, this is the most recent. This again is an ensemble product, meaning it uses multiple models. So the reds just indicate a high probability, close to 100% probability of CAPE values in excess of 500 joules per kilogram. So that's our threshold value here. So that's not a terribly high amount of CAPE, but we have a lot of other different factors that have come into place that are going to give us a chance for some severe weather. So the instability, I believe, has increased, part in fact to that slightly more southerly track of the low. I talked about in a previous video how it could go really far to the north or really far to the south. It's really kind of taken the middle ground, and the models are adjusting now, and you're seeing just a little bit more of a bump in CAPE. So I think we may see a little bit more CAPE filter in here, but in general I don't think much more of an increase is to be expected in terms of instability. Here's the sea surface temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see a plume of warmer temperatures there, and this is Louisiana, Gulf Coastal Mississippi, Gulf Coastal Alabama. That'll be about Mobile right there. So we are tapping into that a little bit. And obviously if the low had tracked further south, we would tap into that even more, and that would further enhance our threat of severe weather. Thankfully, it is slightly more to the north, but we're still sucking in some of this juice off of the Gulf. Let's talk about the nature of the threat. So what kinds of severe weather are to be expected going into this? First, let's look at the Storm Prediction Center has outlined the area of enhanced risk, and note that this has changed. Yesterday it was kind of more to the northwest. We were in the slight risk here in the GTR, but now we are firmly within the enhanced risk area, and that's really the northern half of Mississippi north of I-20. Alright, let's talk about what enhanced means. So the specific meaning of the enhanced term is that we can expect numerous severe storms to be possible. They will be more persistent and or widespread with a few intense. A few tornadoes will be possible. If you read down here, there will be several reports of wind damage, and there can be some damaging hail in the 1 to 2 inch diameter range. So in terms of tornadoes, I think a few tornadoes certainly possible. Maybe perhaps one or two could be of the stronger variety, and stronger means EF2 or greater. So here's my severe threat index. I spent a good deal of time with these numbers. The damaging winds, I think, are a leading concern. 60-plus mile-per-hour winds will probably be fairly widespread across the region in locations. The tornado threat, I had a really difficult time between putting this at 7 and putting this at 6. I do not like to hype things and over-exaggerate. So actually, to be honest, I would probably put this more in the range of 6.75 if I was doing decimal places. So maybe a little bit lower than 7, but I went with 7 because I wanted to go with a whole number. So the tornado threat is the most significant we've seen since late December, and this time the threat is not to the northwest, it's actually more in the Golden Triangle region, so that is something to note. Hail will also be a low-end moderate threat for the GTR region. As you go further to the north of Mississippi, you could probably bump this up to a 4 or 5. Flash flooding also a lower-end concern, but some areas will experience localized flash flooding, especially those that are prone to it. And then, of course, lightning. We don't mention this enough, I don't believe, but lightning is certainly deadly, and please be aware of lightning. I gave it a 6, but I could probably go higher with the lightning. Let's talk about locations. Okay, this is very general, but we're going to get more specific. Maybe I'll do another one of these videos tonight. Here's the region, looking at the whole United States, and you can see this is Mississippi and Alabama outlined there. Let's take a closer look. This is around tomorrow afternoon, around lunchtime to 3 p.m., about 3 p.m.-ish. And I've kind of outlined in red the area of greatest risk, I believe. And this is not super refined at this time. I just kind of went very broad, trying to get everybody in here. I will make this more specific tonight, but there's a look at the area. Here's a look at some of the cities, the towns, the counties in those locations. Please note, Lowndes County, Oktibbeha County, Clay County, Monroe County, Lee County, Itawamba County, going down here towards Meridian, Mississippi. All of us are in this, going further over, not quite far enough west to reach the I-55 corridor, but places like French Camp, Ware, Mississippi, all of this is going to be in the area of higher concern for tomorrow afternoon. So if you live in this area, you have friends or family, kinfolk that live in this area, give them a buzz. Make sure you're weather aware going in tomorrow afternoon. Have source of information. So again, we will refine this tonight. We'll get even more specific as I do another one of these videos tonight. Timing, ignore that. I didn't update that. Let's talk about timing. So here's some looks at simulated radar. This is not what the radar will actually look like, but this is just an idea. Here we are, 18Z. This is about lunchtime. Then we advance this forward to about 3 p.m. You can see storms clearly starting to initiate during that time frame. A couple stronger storms shown in here. And again, don't get attached to the location shown there. That's not where these storms may be. And then as we get closer to 6 p.m., notice how there's just a flurry of activity here with stronger, discrete-looking cells. That, I believe, is going to be close to our time of greatest concern, probably 4 to maybe 7 o'clock. But this is a look at what, generally speaking, what the radar could look like. And here we go to 9 o'clock, and you can see there's still a lot of very strong storms starting to coalesce into more of a linear feature as they get closer in or further into Alabama. So then we'll advance this forward again. Clearly now it's starting to look like we're getting more and more of that line feature. This could turn into like a bow echo here, and that could certainly mean spin up tornadoes along that, maybe even some an embedded tornado or two. So that's what that looks like to me right there. So here's the timing for right now. Early afternoon, 1 to 2 p.m. through the late night hours. I'm putting 11 p.m. through 1 a.m. because I expect to get more specific with that tonight. Alright, so here's the bottom line. Last graphic. Please monitor your local forecast over the next 24 hours, especially if you live within that greater risk area that I outlined Watch your local weather forecast. Stay up to date. Make sure that you have access to sources of information going into tomorrow afternoon. If you have family and friends living in the region, please make sure that they're aware of the situation. As we go into this next 24 hours, the forecast will be further refined. Expect some changes, although not huge changes. The track of the low is now pretty clear. This is fairly high confidence regarding the track right now. General timing window is known. Please note general timing, not specific. Specific times of greatest threats are still relatively low confidence. We'll hone in on those as we move through the next 24 hours. For now, Tuesday afternoon to late night is the time frame of overall concern. All modes of severe weather are possible. This includes a few tornadoes, with perhaps one, maybe even two, stronger tornadoes. Damaging wind is a leading concern. 60-plus mile-per-hour winds should be seen in several locations across the region tomorrow. Hail is a low and moderate concern, with the better chances being in northern Mississippi and Tennessee. And then heavy rainfall leading to some localized flash flooding is also a concern. So there you have it. That is a look at the severe weather potential heading into tomorrow. Again, I will have another one of these updates hopefully out probably late tonight, around midnight-ish. So I hope you all have a great Monday, and please, going into tomorrow, be ready for some severe weather.